Welcome to the Stiletto Talk podcast, where we always try to create a collaborative safe space for women of color who dare to dream, who dare to grow, who dare to thrive. I'm your host, Paula Hutchinson, and today I am so thrilled and honored to have someone who believes, like I believe, in manifestations, going after your dreams, doing big things. And this is someone else that I've shared with you all before about having that digital network. So we're from the same area, but we didn't spend a lot of time in the same spaces always. We connected more digitally by way of other people, and then we had a chance to participate together in a couple of events. And from there, we have stayed connected, and the distance has not stopped that. And I've shared with you all since the pandemic that you need to expand your digital network. One of the things that has been a pro during this season is that everything is open. Your territory is completely open. You don't have to just lock yourself into where you're from. You can expand that territory, expand that reach, and you should be right now, because now that outside is back open, you can be booked and busy all over. So do not stop expanding your digital footprint. So today, without further ado, we have Laqueda Ricks, and let me tell you, you all about to be in for a treat. She is a life coach. She is a traveling queen. She is fine, honey, got her shape together, her look together. She has been a dualpreneur. She's doing all of that. So she can speak to everything for all things manifestation. And I am so excited to have her. So I'm going to get her to introduce herself, talk a little bit about who she is as a person before we dive in. So without further ado, welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is such an honor. I admire you so much. And, I'm so excited to be here. For all the listeners, my name is Laqueda Ricks, and I am from Louisiana. And I am, at first, I started off as a manifestation coach. And, over the years, your business kind of grow because you learn who your soul clients are. And so a lot of my clients, although they wanted to know how to manifest, my clients they were women divorcees, and they were trying to just figure out how to recover after divorce. And I was like, you know what? I'm a divorcee, and I came out of divorce with my hands swinging, with my chest out, and I figured it out. And so I was like, you know what? Let me go back and get another certification as a divorce coach. So I actually, I'm getting more into the divorce space. And I'm helping women with divorce recovery. So I absolutely love it. But, we still incorporate that manifestation in there, because you can, we have to learn how to manifest those things that we want. Professionally, I am an HR consultant for the state of Louisiana. And I've been with the state of Louisiana now for 20 years. I can't believe I'm saying that. But yeah, for 20 years, I've been in HR and have that strong HR background. And so, in that realm, I've been a professional development coach for employees. And so I'm able, when I started thinking about what I was going to do next in my career, I always think about my next, because I'm able to retire. Although I don't have the age, I have the years. And when I started with the state, you could get in and you could retire at any age at 20 years. So luckily, I'm at that point. So now I'm building my next career. And so I have that strong HR background with that professional development. And so I'm able to bring some of those components of HR into my business. And you'll be surprised at how much of those skills that people can use in their everyday life, as far as creating SWOT analysis for their lives. So my clients, when they start with me, they create a SWOT analysis, because you need to know what your strengths and your weaknesses and all of that stuff is. And so the name of my business is Dream Fearlessly Life Coaching and Consulting. And, like I say, it's more for divorcees. And I love to help them with their mindset and kind of getting their life back on track, because I've been that person. And, it was hard getting out of a divorce. And, I wanted to be someone that could help women recover after it, because there's so much life and so much beauty if you decide to get a divorce.
That is so awesome. I remember divorcing many, many moons ago. I've actually been married again so long. Sometimes I forget I was married before. But yes, you are right. When you come out of that space, you don't know what your next looks like. And I also like the fact that you kind of put that segue in with your career too. Because normally about 40 something ish, you find yourself at a transition, at a turning point. And you do start thinking about the next chapter of your life and what you want it to look like. And it is no secret. This will air during the month of August. So this will be during the time of Black Women's Equal Pay Day, and we'll be bringing up these subjects about money and what our next is. And often that is a challenge for women as they transition, whether it's job-wise or even after divorce. You start thinking about money and fair pay and what your next looks like. And I love the fact that you incorporate the fact that you love to coach. So coaching people to their next is what you do every day. And you actually have used the transferable skills of HR, professional development on your job to help propel you into your interest for your next, which is great. So that means you're always doing what you love to do.
Exactly. I never thought, as an HR professional that I would be coaching outside of my main career. But I remember one of our employees, she retired now, and she was like, Laqueda, she was like, this is your calling. Like, you're going to be doing this for people outside of here. She said, because you're good at it and people respect you and they love you they respect your work. They respect your opinion. And, you're definitely going to be doing this outside of this. And when she told me that, I was like, girl, listen, that is not what I'm going to be doing when I leave here. And lo and behold, that is definitely what I'm going to be doing when I leave.
Right. Like, who knew? Same thing for me. Stiletto Talks grew in the salon. It grew well beyond the chair. And now that I've retired from behind the chair, obviously, we're continuing to grow. So I could not have seen it at that time either. And it's funny how our lives string together, just these different pieces. I tell people all the time, I've never learned anything that I haven't used. So
exactly.
Up to this point, right now, I'm 100% at anything that I've learned, I've had to use at some point in time.
Exactly.
Now, of course, I've been snooping on this website, which is gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you.
And I see that you have something that talks about helping corporate professionals and creatives. So talk to me a little bit about, is there a difference in helping creatives versus where our mind is kind of all over the place, where someone else may be more streamlined and corporate. So is there a difference, or how do you work with that when you realize, or you may have someone that kind of has a hybrid mindset. So how do you handle those challenges of working with both?
It's the mindset is totally different. And I had to transition my mindset and how I thought, because, working in corporate and having your business and you have to be a creative on your own, it's totally different. It's totally different. Corporate will set you, corporate will have you thinking one way, and creative in your business will have you thinking another. And, it depends on what you want to do. Everything is professional development. It starts with professional development, whichever area you're in. And so, it like I say, it depends on which area we're working in. So if I'm in the professional setting, I work closely with my clients to get them where they want to go. I always love to say we're going from good to great. And a lot of my clients are already great. So we're going to exceptional. And, when they want to transition over to corporate, they want to transition from corporate to their own business, and they have to be a creative on their own. They just have to shift their mindset, and really learn that, I'm doing this creatively for me, as opposed to I'm doing this for a job in corporate.
That is such great information, Laqueda. And I want to kind of piggyback on that. So for me, I know I'm a creative. And so, but at the same time, I've also always been the boss. So you have to think about the corporate side of things too. And so, like you said, it's kind of like having a Jekyll and Hyde mindset almost, because a creative is just kind of all over the place. And so we certainly can be a challenge. And then when you have that corporate mindset, like you said, just tends to be a little more structured. But then creative is a more faith-based person. So they believe they're visionaries. They can see it. Whereas someone who may be more corporate is like, I don't see that. It's not in black and white. I can't see it. So it's great that you understand both aspects as you are currently living, and your audio matches that video of being a hybrid, someone who's working in HR and someone who's coaching. And I think that is probably a big advantage for you, that you do understand both sides of the game.
And you know what? I didn't always understand that. So, like I say, I'm in corporate. And so that was my mindset. Like you say, it's very structured. And, going into my own personal business, like I had to, work on my mindset and really shift, because, when you go into business for yourself, like you're the creative, like you have to come up with these ideas. You have to come up with the content. It's all you. And, I just had to really sit down and think like, okay, so Laqueda, how bad do you want this? Because you're really going to have to study your craft. You're really going to have, like, you set that structure up, that framework of your business, as opposed to being in corporate where that structure is already set up for you. So it's something that I had to learn too. It didn't come to me naturally because I've been in corporate so long. But once I got, those creative juices running and flowing, I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. And, it's something that I have to work on every day. And I love, it's far as creatives, I love watching like the millennials and, just to kind of see how they are just really out here, just really putting their best foot forward and not making excuses. They go after what they want. So I love millennials and watching them be creatives. They really teach me a lot.
Laqueda, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, we had a little tech difficulty. We'll cut this part. If it's not cut, as y'all see, we got down with it. I want to ask you this. You said that you began really getting off into your process of development during your time when you were diagnosed with COVID. And I know COVID had us all thinking about our mortality and the things that, that matter to us. I mean, for me, I also it was rough. So for me, I know it was definitely a time of reflection. And it sounds like you got to a point where you reflected to the point like, hey, I'm going to up my craft now that I've had this time to, to my mortality shifted. Your mortality seems like it shifted you more into truly operating in your purpose and not procrastinating, like you said, like really going after it and all the things that you've watched the millennials do, and you've seen how they move and how they just keep going. They don't take no for an answer. And so walk us through that process, because we may have other people that are, COVID has different implications. It could be a health change and people need to change careers. It could be the fact that a job is no longer in existence and they need to possibly change and may need coaching. Walk us through the process of what you went through and made the decision, like, you know what, I need to manifest more towards leadership of my next outside of my current career.
Let me tell you something. When I tell you COVID put everybody on the same playing field, regardless of what your financial status was, regardless of what neighborhood you lived in, regardless of how much money you had, everybody was on the same playing field. We were all worried, like, oh my goodness, if we get COVID, are we going to die? And I had COVID in March of 2020. Like, this was the onset of it here in the United States. And when I got COVID, the first thing I thought about was, oh my goodness, am I going to live? And, during that time, you had to be separated from your family, from your friends, from everything. You literally had to separate yourself. And so, it's just me and my daughter in the house. And like, I literally was in the room by myself, and that was my time with God. And I was like, God, you know what? Just let me get through this. And if you let me get through this, whatever it is that you want me to do, I'm going to do it. And, he started giving me ideas and just really pouring into me. And, I had a notebook and I was just writing down things that he would be depositing into my spirit. And, I got over COVID and I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm over COVID. But God, baby, he will remind you of what you said. And he was like, okay, so you said that, after, you got better, then this was what you were going to do. And so, I just had to really walk into my purpose. And I knew my purpose was to always serve women. I knew that I love pouring into women. And, that's where it all started. It started with that conversation with God. Like, God, if you allow me to get through this, then you have me. And so that's where all of this come from, although, before all of this happened, I was, he had already dealt with me and told me, you need to be pouring into women. And I was like, I don't have time for that, because I'm going to want to pick who I want to deal with and da, 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 da. And, after I had COVID and I started putting things together and I was like, God, I want to deal with this type of people. He was like, no. You're not going to tell me who you're going to deal with. I'm going to send you who I want you to deal with. And so, that was a very humbling experience because now, I'm dealing with all types of women that I probably wouldn't have dealt with, before COVID. But, that set me up for my purpose. It really positioned me for my purpose.
That is such a beautiful story. And I love the fact that you brought up something that's very profound. We'll pray. And whether you're spiritual or not, most people are looking to manifest, or you're looking for the stars to align, whatever it is that you believe. But often when we are setting something and leaving it there, we go back and get it, pick it back up, and want to take over again, but you just set it back down for someone else to help you, who has the capacity to help you, who you feel like can certainly help you. And I think we all do that. And my grandmother used to always say that God don't need your help.
No, he do not.
But we love to have takeover spirit. And I think sometimes too much of the takeover spirit. And I think as a woman, that's just something that we're just so used to being hurt. We're used to having to defend ourselves in workspaces, and we're always in survival mode. And I think that yields way, unfortunately, to us, just kind of just like, we're going to take over. It's not going like I needed to. Let me take over. And sometimes we do that to a point to where it's a fault. So I love the fact that you brought it up. That, hey, like this stuff is real. Like, this stuff goes on for real. Because I don't think people think about that. They don't think about just the fact sometimes, stuff just falls apart. It's like,
right.
We have no idea what the stars may align for us all. And I love the fact that you just brought that just brought it home. We have to be willing to do the work. You talked about reminding, God will remind us of what we said. Life will remind you what you said because your
Mm-hmm.
words and manifestation. I see you have Manifestation Queen on your site, and it's the truth. What you say right now is happening. Like fast
Let
as
me
we say something, it is coming to pass. So
let me tell you
you need
something.
to be very careful about what you say right now. This is not the time
Ex-
to make random statements because it's like as fast as someone says something, it literally comes up. You're like, wow, we were just talking about this or that, and there it
Absolutely.
is. So
Absolutely.
I totally
And people
wholeheartedly agree. Like, this ain't the time. If you're gonna say it with the conviction and meaning to do it, and especially when you're seeking out a coach. Now, I noticed also that you do virtual vision boards, and I noticed that you fly all across the country doing this. You do it in person, you do it virtually, but enlighten us on the benefits of vision boards because I don't think some people realize the benefits of a vision board. And you, as a person that uses vision boards in your coaching strategy and in your event strategy, talk to us a little bit more about what that looks like when you put them to use and really use that to hold you accountable.
absolutely. So, just to go back to when you were talking about manifestation before I talk about the vision board, we manifest things whether they're good or bad. So we have to be mindful of the things of our thoughts. We have to be mindful of, the things that we say out of our mouths because they will come to pass, regardless if it's good or bad. And so, when I'm working with my clients with vision boards, and I always see people on social media and they be like, vision boards don't work. They work, but you have to do some work. The thing about it with manifestation and the things that you want, you actually have to you have to put a little work in to get what you want. It's just not going to come to you like an Amazon Prime package. You actually have to do a little work. And so, when I don't do just vision board parties. My vision boards, they are definitely workshops. So we spend 4 to 6 hours at a workshop. And in this workshop, you have a workbook that we're working through. We're actually doing SWOT analysis. We're doing your core values. We're working on we're working on a set of goals. And like when I tell you the workbook is so detailed, by the time you get ready to do your board, you know exactly what you want. You know the goals that you're going to be working on for the year. And I always tell clients, so I do vision board workshops throughout the year. And people get so caught up in, oh my goodness, it's January 1st and I have to get my vision board done. I was just telling my cousin like 2 days ago, I was like, you know what? Because she hadn't done her vision board. And I was like, well, we can still do your vision board. I say, what people have to realize is you determine your own personal fiscal year. So your fiscal year can be March to March, or it can be January to January, or June to June. You don't have to do a vision board at the beginning of the year. So in those workshops, like we work through your workbook and we're discovering your core values because most people don't even know what their core values are. And we look at that SWOT analysis and we write a mission statement for your life. Like everybody should have a mission statement for your life. And these are some of the skills that I help people do in corporate America, like businesses. For our organization, for our agency, we meet with the C-suite leaders and when they're working on our mission statement for the next 3 to 5 years, their strategic plan, the first thing that they're going over, they're trying to figure out, what are the core values for our agency? What is the mission statement? What's the vision statement that's going to, tie everything together? So in the vision board workshop, I help you to do that very same thing that these corporate Fortune 500 companies are using as their foundation for their companies. So, like I say, it's very detailed. When you come out, you're going to come out and have done some work. So it's not just about putting some pictures on the board, because that's not what we're doing. We're doing that at the end, but you know exactly the goals and the vision that you have for the next year. You have those goals written, you have those goals written down in your workbook. Okay, this is what I need to do. This is when I need to have it done by. Like, we put dates with stuff on there, because if we don't put dates, we're not gonna get it done. So you don't have just a pretty board. You're gonna have a pretty board at the end, but you're gonna have some substance, because it's gonna be connected to what you put down in that workbook.
Oh, that's good. That is so good. And I love that you talked about your year can start at any time. I think that we have gotten stuck in tradition. This is a tradition that I did not participate in this year, and I think I've been the better for it. Of course, I was dealing with my mother with cancer during the time, and I didn't know what my year was going to look like. So I did not concern myself, other than the fact that I knew I was completing my degree program and entering another one. I did not know what my year was going to look like. So I did not participate in the whole New Year's resolution, this and the other. And what I will say is, I really have just started working on my vision and the things that I want to see since my mother has passed, because obviously she was my primary focus. And
Right.
I will say that I've been more productive in the last, my mother will be deceased 100 days, July the 7th. And I will say that I've done more now in the last few months than I would have if I would have started in January. So you're absolutely right, that you can hold yourself accountable and start your year. You can start today.
Yeah.
At the end of this podcast, you can be encouraged to say, you know what, I need to get a coach. I need to lock this down. I also like the fact that you said that you have people that don't know their core values. And I do believe that. I think this is why we are like a ship tossed to and fro on different subjects, different matters of the nation or the state or of your respective states and areas. We're just all over the place because we don't know what our mission statement is for our life. What is your guiding principles? If somebody asks you that, most people cannot answer that because they're so busy dealing with other people's business, or just haven't taken the time to really be that introspective. So I think that is great that you brought that up. And then you brought up SWOT analysis. Now, of course, we deal with this all the time, with our strengths, with our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats. But walk us through a little more, especially for those that may not be familiar with SWOT analysis. Walk us through what a SWOT analysis is and how do you use it in your coaching strategy with your clients?
Okay, perfect. So, the SWOT analysis stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats. So you always want to, as a person, you want to, what are your strengths? What are you good at? Like, what is it that takes the least amount of effort? When you're trying to do something, are you a good hairstylist? Are you a good baker? Like, what are your strengths? Like, what are you good at? Then you look at your weaknesses. So you may say, okay, well, my strength is baking, but I don't know how to use the computer. I'm not good at using a computer. So that may be a weakness for you. An opportunity. Okay, so an opportunity is, what kind of opportunity can you give yourself in order to get better? Like, I can take a course. That's an opportunity. I can go back to school. That's an opportunity. A thing that's a threat, people always be like, they come up with all these ideas of what threats are. But I always reel them back in and be like, what is it? What's stopping you from getting where you want to be? They come up with all these ideas. I don't have the money. I don't do this. But the main threat that I always remind people, your main threat is you. You stop yourself from being great, because we find resources for what we want to find resources for. So, when we look at the threat, we don't even think about those outside threats. We think about those inner threats, and that inner threat is you. So we're going to put our name under threat. And so once we, look at that SWOT analysis, and we have those strengths, those weaknesses, and that opportunity and that threat down, I always tell my clients, for those weaknesses, we're going to turn those into affirmations. We're going to flip that thing, because we're not going to say that, oh, I don't know how to use, I don't know how to use social media. No, we're gonna flip that around, and we're gonna say, I am the best at social media. We have to start speaking these things. And I believe so much in affirmations that we're gonna tie those weaknesses to affirmations. And so that's kind of how that process go. And when we're looking at our SWOT, we're also thinking about our core values. How are we tying our core values into those strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats?
That is awesome. I love the fact that you are incorporating that, because I think that is an accountability piece that is simple, it's easy, it's trackable for someone at home, or if they miss an appointment with you, they will still be able to kind of keep up and be able to report like, hey, I'm having some challenges. Is it relative to, one of the parts of the SWOT, or are you just anxious? What does that look like? Because then that may be a different conversation. So right. I do love the fact that you bring up all of that. Laqueda, of course, you are a travelista, you have your own traveling business, you have a full diversified portfolio, which is now typical for many women. Mm-hmm. What piece of advice do you have for women if they are considering doing the same thing, but just may have that fear of it all, not knowing, what to expect out here, which of course we consider it fun, but it might not feel like fun to everybody else. Right. But of course, coming from the backgrounds that we come from, for us it's just a little bit easier, because we know, like, win or not win, you don't have a choice, but if you're a person that maybe is a person likes to play it safe, maybe not as big a risk taker often, but hey, I'm thinking about, I may be able to do this. What's the one piece of advice that you would give them that would encourage them to maybe consider, lean more towards, like, go after your goal?
My advice would be just to do it and don't give up. You may need a little break. You may get scared, but I always tell people it don't hurt to try things. If that doesn't work, try something else. Try something until you find what it is that you love to do. People always say, how do I find my purpose? And your purpose is that thing that you'll do if you don't get paid. Like, I would coach women even if I didn't get paid, because I love it. Like, that's my purpose. And just don't give up. Some people get into businesses, and if that business isn't moving at the speed that it's supposed to move, then they just quit. Like, you can't quit on yourself. Like, why are you quitting on yourself? We see businesses that pop up all over town all the time. And do you think McDonald's or Burger King, they're going to give up? And it doesn't matter how many people are doing the same thing that you're doing. Don't look at that, because just imagine walking down the aisle in Walmart, down the cosmetic aisle, and you see every type of makeup line. You see L'Oreal, you see Maybelline, you see everything. But guess what? Those businesses are still thriving because people purchase what they want from who they want. It doesn't matter that they all sell the same thing. And the thing about it is, you can't compare their chapter 20 to your chapter 1. You don't know what they went through. You don't know all the obstacles that they went through. So, stop comparing and just do you. Just go and do what you're supposed to do. And keep your eyeballs to yourself. Social media it really have people looking at people like, oh my goodness, like she made it, like I can do this. Okay, you don't know what it took for her to get there. You don't know how many years she invested to get there. Business is not a get rich quick scheme. It's going to take time, and you have to be willing to invest in yourself. You have to be willing to invest in a coach, professional development, personal development, all of that. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to do this and think that you're going to be an overnight success. That's 1 in a million that happens. You actually have to put some sweat equity in it, and really do it. But, my advice is just do it. Just try it and don't give up on yourself. Don't quit on yourself. That's the easy route. And, in this season, we're not taking easy routes. We're not taking what feels good. We are your biggest success happens outside of your comfort zone.
That is so true. For me, I would have never guessed that I would move away, and then see my brand not only it just continued to grow and evolve. And like you said, if you don't take the time to just see what can happen, if it fails, not saying you won't be hurt, because you'll probably be hurt. I've been, sure you have, but to keep going. And I think that is the difference between those who choose this life and then those that don't. It is one of those things where you may have to have a diversified portfolio, and certainly with a possible recession coming, that's a possibility, right? But you have to take ownership and know what your goals are, and who you are, and what your long-term goals are. And I tell people, don't despise small beginnings, and please do not let the internet have you flued out, because some of us know these people in real life.
Exactly.
So please do not, people post what they want you to see. You don't see all of the things that they've gone through. You only see a particular snippet in their life, but you don't see the totality of their life. So don't let that stop you. And I tell people, if you see somebody with something, they probably worked really hard. And if they didn't work hard, at some point they're going to have to, because then you have to maintain it. So the main thing is focus on yourself. And if you're not focusing on yourself, then, that's a problem too. It is paying attention to your brain. If you could tell me more about what somebody else is doing than what you intend to do, you have a nose for you just nosy rose.
Right.
Laqueda, I know once people hear this and they hear how you coach, how you have these safe space opportunities for them to either write their vision and get clarity and do it themselves, or if they need continuous coaching. And I tell anybody, get you a coach, a coach, honey, and do not try to do it on your own. If you're not going to invest in anything else, you need somebody that's objective enough to tell you when you're wrong, tell you when you're right, and help you have another perspective, instead of doing things just based off of impulsivity, especially if you are creative. And then if you are a corporate person, you're probably more of a pessimist. You can tend to talk yourself out of stuff because you're thinking about, if you don't have X, Y, and Z, it's not going to add up. You got to have the faith and you got to have the work component. So I know, hearing that you have both, I'm sure your phone will probably, and email will start to go off quite a bit. So how can we find you? How can we connect with the manifestation queen? How can we do this living you're talking about, this dream fearlessly life? How can we experience this? How can we connect with you?
Absolutely. So you can connect with me through email at info@laquedaricks.com. You can follow me on social media. On Facebook, it's just Laqueda Ricks, LaQuedaRicks. And on IG, it's the Laqueda Ricks. I respond back to messages. I answer Messenger. So you can get in touch with me through either three.
Well, we can't thank you enough for sharing your truth, for sharing your experience during COVID, We thank you for saying yes to the call, yes to serving women like we do. It is always so good to see other people out here in this life fighting for women, because it is just sometimes it's a hard fight, but it's a rewarding fight. And to see women get up, stand up, and realize who they are, stand in their power, stand in their truth, is always a beautiful thing. And to see that we are everywhere. We're now over 1,200 miles away, and it's good to see that there are women all in between there. They got people doing their thing. And so we appreciate you. Thank you. If nobody tells you, thank you. Thank you for seeing women, seeing the need, and answering the call unapologetically. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.
It is always such a pleasure. Of course, we talk outside of here, but of course, uh, it is always great to chat it up. We've never chatted it up like this, so this is great. You all, if you like what you're hearing, definitely share. We are on Podbean at the stilettotalks.podbean.com. You also can find our podcast on everything from Stitcher to iTunes to Pandora. We're everywhere. Audible, we're everywhere, literally. And so we thank you all for your continued support of the Stiletto Talks, as we provide this collaborative safe space for women of color. We are always looking for women that are putting themselves out there and doing the work where their audio matches their video. If that is you, definitely reach out to us at contact@thestilettotalks.com. We would love to have you on the show as well. Again, thank you, Laqueda. This will air, of course, during Black Women's Equal Pay Month and Pay Day. And I will share with you this. It takes, as it stands right now, a Black woman 18 months to make what her white counterpart as a male would make in a year. So what we're making right now is what, at this point, if this is June 30th and we are recording, it has taken us this long to make what was made from someone else in 2020. So let that sink in. So we are 18 months behind. So we definitely need people that are willing to do the work. So thank you all so much for being a part of the Stiletto Talk, and we look forward to the next episodes. And just stick with us, just stay with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.